Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Hey, it's Bobby Bones with some exciting news. Open booking is here for the Top Shelf Country Cruise, setting sail February 2026 aboard the luxurious Celebrity Reflection. Spots are filling up fast, so book your stateroom today or sign up to become a lineup insider to receive the final lineup 48 hours prior to the public. Don't miss your chance to make February 2026 unforgettable. Visit TopShelfCountryCruise.com. That's TopShelfCountryCruise.com.
Seriously, Pete Buttigieg.
I'm telling you, Buttigieg is going to take Super Tuesday. Own it. That's his all day.
Tom, you know we record these episodes in advance, right?
Whatever. I have never made a safer bet. I'm doubling down.
That's probably true.
Hey, guys.
God damn it.
Right. I forgot it was Monday. I don't even know how I forgot. We were just talking about
Cecil,
Tuesday.
before you get mad.
Too late.
Okay, I know how much you love to jog, and with this week's episode being the 1904 Olympic Marathon, I recreated the marathon for you.
Oh, God, I took one jog in the morning one time at one of our live shows.
What's a morning?
Okay, Health Nut. Now, look, I set up dust clouds, I turned off the water for the whole building, I even put in a human zoo.
Eli, that is clearly just Heath in a loincloth.
Yeah.
But he's been feeding a dog all morning.
It's true. I gave Madge, so many treats. So many.
You did. You really did.
No, Eli, they didn't feed dogs. It was different. It was kind of
What did they do?
Never mind. I don't have the heart for this.
Zach. Heath, give her a chew stick.
Okay. Hey, Madge, you gonna finish that? Ow! Okay, she's finishing it. That one's hers. That's hers.
Hello and welcome to Citation Needed, podcast where we choose a subject, read a single article about it on Wikipedia, and pretend we're experts. Because this is the internet, that's how it works now. I'll be the play-by-play announcer tonight. We'll say a slew of incomprehensible things like, when you tackle that guy, you gotta grab him by the hind leg. But I can't do this without my color men and sideline reporters. Introducing first two men who applaud your originality at calling it sports ball, Heath and Noah.
Yeah, sports are dumb. Whatever. Fuck you. My dad loves me, so that's fun. But yeah, let's all get a big stack of word rectangles and stare at them in silence. Fuck books. Literature's dumb. That's what you sound like.
Yeah, it's just like, everybody's not into your stupid sports. Now, here are 6 more memes that hinge on an in-joke from a 1990s Belgian indie comic about a gay fish.
Wow. Just attacking Eli on the show now.
Thank you, color men. And the best color we can get is a sort of an off pink. Anyway, also joining us tonight,
On pink.
a couple of unathletic and uncoordinated guys that have dressed in green and gold who really look like they missed their opportunity to be Green Bay Packers super fans, Tom and Eli.
I mean, how much of Green Bay can these guys pack? Am I right? Huh? What?
Uncoordinated. I have broken 2 laws at the same time without losing my balance. That should count for something other than a parole violation.
Oh, yeah, right. Okay, that's fair.
It didn't, though.
Hey, Citation Needed listeners. I just want to mention that my favorite part about the current patronage level is the constant hunger pains. Right side? There's no way in hell we're going to reach the road trip goal, and I have to spend time with Eli in a car, so I'll take the little victories, everybody. Yes. No way we are going to reach that goal. Anyway, if you want any extra content or to see videos of our live show, be sure to stick around to the end of the show, and I'll tell you how. With that out of the way, tell us, Noah, what person, place, thing, concept, phenomenon, or event will we be talking about today?
Today, we'll be talking about the 1904 St. Louis Olympic Marathon.
Oh, and Tom, you've been training hard to finish this race. Are you ready for the starting gun?
Eat my dust, Cecil. That'll make more sense later. It's like okay.
Okay. All right. Okay, Tom, why are you telling us a sports story?
Yeah, I mean, that does seem somewhat out of character, but I'll tell you why, Cecil, because this story has almost nothing to do with sports. It contains a stunning amount of personal misfortune, incompetence. There's some poisoning, some deceit. There's a level of absurdity in this story that will, I think, leave all of us agreeing that in the end, probably nobody won.
Ah, someone's been watching Love is Blind.
I was so sure you were going to say the Democratic primary.
It can be both.
All right, so this all began when St. Louis, of all places, decided to host the World's Fair. The idea was to commemorate the centennial of the Louisiana Purchase, or at least that was the say it out loud theme. The real idea here was to showcase American imperialism, which I fucking love, because when I think about America swinging some big showy dick around, I think we can all agree the natural place to start is in America's sweaty taint.
America's sweaty taint, exactly.
For sure, yeah. The arch is just the half of the cock ring you can see. So,
So before we get to the marathon itself, I want to tell you a little bit about the World's Fair.
Boo, nerd, Etruscans. Just do the story.
All right, so this World's Fair was a really big goddamn deal. It ran from April through December of 1904. It cost $15 million. That's about $500 million in today's money to put this thing on. It took 5 years to build the nearly 1,500 buildings. It sprawled across 1,200 acres. When it was all said and done, 20 million people would visit during the 8 months that the fair was open, and that was about a quarter of the entire U.S. population at the time.
Wow. We can barely get those numbers with presidential elections these days. That's impressive.
All right, so 20 million people have now impossibly flocked to St. Louis. I know from personal experience, there better be something pretty goddamn once-in-a-lifetime amazing to get anybody to purposely arrive in St. Louis. But this fair, this would not disappoint. Now, I promise we'll get to the marathon, but a little context about the sorts of entertainments that were on display for revelers and gawkers that should set the table for this
Context doesn't matter, Tom. Nuance is dumb. Just tell us about the fucking sports. Let's go.
Yes. Boo. Context. Boo.
All right, well, what I won't do is bore you with the now laughable marvels of what was all basically an early 1900s CES show, mostly because it might distract from all the racism and animal cruelty. For those who heard a live show about Coney Island, you might remember that at this point, America had a penchant for human zoos. The 1904 World's Fair was no exception. The largest exhibit at this fair was colloquially known as Dogtown. Dogtown featured, and I shit you not, 1,000 actual real live, except for the 2 that died in transport.
please be dogs, please be dogs, please be dogs.
It is not dogs, genuine imported Filipinos.
Fuck.
How bad is it when your job has you rooting for the thing that died on the way over to be dogs, right?
Right, God.
Wow.
So these living exhibits were arranged according to their level of civilization. From
fuck.
the primitive
God
to
damn
the
it.
modern. And the exhibit grounds were made to mirror their tribal homelands. The most popular of these exhibits was the Igorot tribe. And the Philippines, the Igorots would, on occasion, for ceremonial purposes, eat dog. So naturally, once these people were on exhibit, they were fed dog on a daily basis to titillate the crowd. And the crowd was titillated. Fairgoers were so amazed by the savages, this was their word, not mine, eating dogs, that fairgoers began bringing dogs to the fair to be eaten for the amusement of the crowd. This was actually done so much that police had to patrol the surrounding area to avoid people's pets being stolen and offered up for snacks.
For fuck's sake.
Just a bunch of cats Pied Pipering dogs to the fair, just running away at the last second. Holding up "eat more dog" signs spelled wrong. Chick-fil-A cows.
Quick reminder, there's a 1 in 4 chance your grandpa was in that crowd. Kind of makes Trump's election make a lot more sense now that I think about it.
How the fuck old do you think our audience is?
My grandpa from 1904.
20. 120. 50.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Somebody buy this man a calculator. All right. Among the wholesome entertainments on offer were also the Anthropology Day events. So for the amusement of spectators, savages, again, their word, not mine, from various international human zoo villages amidst the fair were called upon to compete in front of crowds in events such as greased pole climbing, mud slinging, javelin throwing. Now, I only include the javelin throwing because it doesn't sound that bad, but when you look at the pictures of it, they dress these guys in fucking loincloths while all these white dudes in suits are staring at the savages throwing spears around. I have no idea how this one would have been judged, but also there was a competitive event called ethnic dancing. If any of that sounds racist, guys, that's just because you're paying attention.
Yeah, that does sound racist. Also, sounds like Philadelphia when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2018. Exactly. I saw idiots literally climbing greased poles, javelins, loincloths, and actually a good deal of white people trying to do ethnic dancing. Pretty much all the stuff you mentioned. That's real. The police literally pre-lubed the city with fuck lube, and people still climbed all the greased poles. I watched so many people hurt themselves and deserve it that night.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I was in Philadelphia that night.
Yeah. Pornhub sent down a loop for it. It was a whole big thing.
Pornhub made a big deal. KY.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I do. I love that when Tom describes the horribly rancid bigotry of the early 20th century, your first thought was, yeah, that reminds me of Philadelphia. That time I was in Philly
2 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So also at one point for the World's Fair, there was supposed to be a bullfight.
Really?
In an arena in St. Louis.
Really?
An arena purpose-built just for this bullfight. And that might have been okay, I guess, except for the bullfighting, except that right before the bullfight itself, someone remembered that St. Louis actually had a law against bullfighting, at which point they canceled the bullfight just before it was scheduled to begin with a full arena of paying customers. The crowd, totally fucking unimpressed by their sudden realization that they were standing in a custom-built arena made for something which was presumably illegal before they laid that first brick, so they naturally demanded a refund for their bullfighting tickets. Just as naturally, since this was St. Louis, they were told to go fuck themselves. So the crowd burnt the arena to the ground.
What? That's so St. Louis.
All right. Just like, all right, can I have my money back? No? I'm going to start a giant fucking fire. Okay, it's 1904. How could that go wrong? Now, thankfully, nobody was hurt. And that's because all of this happened on a Sunday, which is a day which I guess is earmarked for church and bullfights, but not fair going.
They could have saved this whole thing. Mix this exhibit with the Philippine exploitation one, throw them up in front of the crowd and have them eat a bulldog. Problem solved, man. The only problem is that after one time chasing that red cloth, the bulldog's out of breath and nearly dying because bulldogs are unethical. They're unethical to me.
Not everyone has time-traveling Egyptian gods for a pet, Cecil.
A number of new foods were also introduced to the world or popularized during the World's Fair. It's been widely claimed that the waffle cone was an invention of the fair. It's total bullshit, not true. But Dr. Pepper was actually first inflicted upon the world here.
Okay.
And for the day, it was healthy compared to most other doctors. So.
And it's amazing.
A number of other foods, such as hamburgers, hot dogs, and iced tea, were actually also popularized at the fair. But the only reason I included this paragraph in here is because by far the most iconic was daughter of slaves Annie Fisher, who whipped up some of her soon-to-be famous, quote, beaten biscuits.
Oh, my God.
So the daughter of slaves was selling beaten biscuits at the fair. Also, there was a full-size elephant made entirely out of almonds. And you can see a picture of that thing.
Awesome.
It's insane.
That's nuts. Well, now
it's actually legumes, Cecil, whatever. It's actually not. I think an almond is enough.
Well, now that we know where he's at, the Hague should definitely prosecute Dr. Pepper for war crimes. They can find him now.
What the fuck are you guys talking about? Dr. Pepper's the best. You're Hitler. You are you die.
Yeah. If you love the taste of a dot matrix printer on the fritz, you will love Dr. Pepper. You know that when they
I am
asked the
so
guy,
drinking a Dr. Pepper right now as we speak.
it's what Eli said, but like 26 other flavors they combine, and it's amazing.
you know when they asked the guy who invented Dr. Pepper what it tastes like, he said, I wanted it to taste like a soda fountain smells. That was the best the guy who invented it could come up with.
And it does.
So then there was the Olympics. So America's first Olympics actually was here, and the marathon, which I promised that I will get to.
Right, yeah, no, because if somebody fails to get to the words in their title of the episode right away, it's a cardinal sin and they should be mercilessly harassed for it forever. I get it, Tom. Eventually you'll get there, though.
When it's you. But first, I want to just leave you with this quote from the Smithsonian. Quote, there were moments of surprising and genuine triumph. Gymnast George Iser earned 6 medals, including 3 gold, despite his wooden leg.
What?
That is a
That's
line in the
amazing.
Smithsonian that they
Amazing.
do not elaborate on at all. That is just thrown out there. No elaboration.
I want it to be rhythmic gymnastics, and he uses the leg as his object. That's what I'm picturing.
Like they do with the ball? Yes.
Just pole vaulting, but just that's the pole. Just it fucking kills it.
Go gadget leg. Well, we reached that time where Tom would normally be making fun of Noah for not getting to the topic yet. So let's take a break for apropos of nothing. What do you say, everybody?
All right, kids, now remember, if we get separated,
We're on our own forever. We know, Dad.
that's right. Now, what shall we see, darling?
I want to see the world of the future. I hear they have an exhibit on me voting.
What will they think of next?
I want to go to the racism tent. I want to go to the racism tent. Racism.
All right, little Timmy, here's a nickel. Go buy yourself a human being.
Yay, a nickel. I'll get to.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go check out the Olympics. I hear Nicky Jumps is the fastest man alive.
Oh, how fast is he?
About a third as good as a 2020 high school semifinalist.
Oh, lead the way.
This is the most fun we'll ever have before we die.
1904. Aren't you glad you were born now?
So when we left off, we were talking about the exploitation of native peoples and a huge national spectacle. I mean, the Chiefs did just win the Super Bowl. What's old is new. Anyway, can we hear about a race now, Tom?
Go Kansas.
All right, Cecil, so let's talk marathon. I guess when you and I think marathon, we probably think of a 26.2 mile race. There are probably some other details in there, but that's generally a good starting place. Not so for the out-of-box free thinkers down in St. Louis. The St. Louis Olympic Marathon was just over 24 and a half miles as laid out from start to finish.
Ish.
Yeah.
Ish?
Just, got it close. The best way to tell you this story is to tell you about the first several people who crossed the finish line in order of that crossing, though not without first describing the course.
Okay, but they couldn't get an exact just distance.
Yeah, right?
Like, I hope what they did was they realized they were a bit short the last second, and then there was like a gym teacher making you do wind sprints back and forth across the finish line until you got up to 26.2.
2 more times around the track.
Touch the lines, pick up the eraser.
All right, so the day of the race was hot. I mean, it was like really fucking hot. Like late August in St. Louis, fucking predictably hot. The heat index the day of the race was 135 degrees.
Okay, but that's in 1904 they were doing that. In 1904, that's just like a fat guy going outside and sweating for a few seconds, being like, yep, 135. That's like a lot of drippiness. I'm saying 135.
Come on, Frank, be scientific. Hold this mercury for a second now.
So the course itself was described by a race official as, quote, the most difficult a human being was ever asked to run over. And I don't think they were wrong. The roads were covered in several inches of lung-choking dust. There were 7 hills on the course, ranging from 100 to 300 feet. The course wasn't roped off in any way for the runners, nor was the roads maintained or even repaired. So large rocks and stones were strewn across primitive dirt streets.
What?
The runners had to dodge crosstown traffic, horses, automobiles, pedestrians, trains, trolley cars.
Amazing.
Okay, all right, but so far this is what Cecil does every morning, but with hills, right?
That's fair.
So the race organizers also, and I am not making this up, in an attempt to discover how well the human body performed when severely dehydrated, purposely only put in 2 water stations along the entire course. One at mile 6 and one at mile 12. No other place to get
my
water.
God. That is one tough race.
Okay, let's put the sniper towers here and here.
All right, that sounds good. Where should we release the Tigers?
I'd say mile 16.
No, that's the spectator circular saw blade toss. You can't do it there.
Oh, is that 16? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Let's go mile
16.
14 then.
That one's the hand grenade hot potato portion of the. Yeah, can't
Shit.
do.
Mile 8.
Oh,
mile 8.
No, there's nothing. Yeah, mile 8 will work good. Okay, the water stations.
Let's do mile 6 and mile 12.
Oh, take it easy there. That many?
Well, yeah, I guess that does seem like a lot. Oh, okay, I'll tell you what. Let's use 2 stations, but we could poison every other glass. Shit, someone wrote this before they read the rest of the essay, didn't they?
Yeah, spoiler alert. Spoiler alert there, for sure. Yeah.
I hope they were using glasses. Literally. Have a tall glass of milk, son.
Just spiking them down in the fucking road for the other
Exactly.
runners to run over. So the first guy who would cross the finish line that day was Fred Lors. And he jogged over the finish line in just under 3 hours, although he was not actually the winner. Fred qualified for the Olympic marathon because he ran really well at a 5-mile qualifying race.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Feels like there's a better system for testing a 26.25. They just did 5.
24 and 3/4.
Okay, I threw a Nerf turbo football 50 yards. I'm an Olympic shot putter now. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. So this guy was not an experienced runner. He trained mostly at night after work because he spent his days at his job as a bricklayer. So he had very little time for running or training. He got off to a good start in the first mile, but he soon fell behind. By mile 9, he, like many of the other runners, developed cramps and diarrhea from the well water at mile 6. So Fred was exhausted. He flagged down a passing car and he hitched a ride. He rode in that car.
Well, he's like that. Boy, I'm surprised more people didn't think of this.
This is way easier than running. Gee, I should have thought of this during the 5-mile qualifier.
Oh, so
My favorite thing is that he's in this car and he's waving at crowds and actually waving at the other runners as he drives by them. Then the car, because it's 1904, the car fucking broke down. So he hopped out, he ran the last few miles to cross over the finish line. The crowd sees him cross the finish line. They go fucking nuts. They're cheering an American won, an American won. Theodore Roosevelt's daughter, Alice, very nearly put the wreath and the gold medal around his neck when the crowd realized that this fucking guy had just cheated and they turned on him, stripping him of his victory in the moment.
Okay. Probably got caught when the cab driver ran up being like, fuck that guy. He shit all over my car. Just everywhere.
So coming in second place, but really actually first place, was Thomas Hicks. So at the 10-mile mark of the race, desperate and thirsty, Thomas Hicks began begging for water. He begged 2 guys for water. They refused him, but they saw their chance to test out their theories on sports performance on this guy.
Wait, what? Why is this?
So, yeah,
who decided
for real,
all this
these are not
science
his
is
trainers.
happening?
Yeah, just here we
It's
go.
just some random people who are like, I have a theory. Let me
Evil
I'm just going to
science.
stand here.
What the fuck?
So rather than give this guy anything to drink, the 2 men sponged out his mouth with distilled water.
What?
Yeah, that's it.
How?
That's at mile 10. 4 miles later, at mile 14, Hicks' impromptu training crew fed him strychnine and egg whites. Still no water. They did not give
What?
him any water at this point with the strychnine at all.
Strychnine, poison?
Strychnine-
That's a poison?
Yeah, in very small amounts, it's a stimulant. So they were actually trying to dope the athlete. It would actually be the first incidence of Olympic doping. It didn't help because as he ran, Hicks became ashen and limp. He began to hallucinate. So his trainers naturally tried some more strychnine and egg whites, but this time they let him wash it down with some French brandy.
Yeah, or as they called it in 1904, breakfast. Yeah.
So then they doused his body in warm water, which I fucking
So
love.
close.
So mean. Race official Charles Lucas said this of Hicks, quote, Hicks was running mechanically like a well-oiled piece of machinery. His eyes were dull, lusterless. The ashen color of his face and skin had deepened.
What?
His arms appeared as weights well tied down. He could scarcely lift his legs while his knees were almost stiff.
Okay. That guy has weird machines, first of all. That's well machined him. But like what the hell was happening here? These guys were like, all right, we tried the egg whites, brandy, and strychnine thing. Did not create a super soldier like we were hoping. What'd you say? The yolks? Yeah, okay, we'll try the yolks. We'll call you back in a second. We'll try the yolks.
Okay, not to downplay the horrors of the Holocaust.
Eli, your sentences start like that too often, man.
That's fair. That's
They
a fair
do.
criticism
They
of
do.
me. But like Mengele makes a lot more sense in the context of the people just randomly did experiments on each other early 1900s, right? No. This is like our third essay where a guy was just like, I got a thing.
It's fucking insane. So hallucinating, poisoned, dehydrated, unbearably hot, and now soaking wet, Hicks continued on. When he got to the last mile, he began crying and begging those around him for something to eat. In his hallucinations, he believed he was still 20 miles from the end of the course, even though he was nearly at the finish.
How did they find that out?
He also began begging his trainers to lie down. He asked them for tea, but they just gave him more brandy instead.
Nice.
Unable to continue running, the two men picked him up and carried him the last bit over the finish line. Hicks was unable to understand that he was not running, so he continued to move his legs as if he were running. like even as he was carried.
That's awesome.
I know. Even as these two guys carry this guy over the finish line, it took 4 doctors working on Hicks a full hour before he was well enough to leave the event to go to the hospital. Hicks lost 8 pounds running in that race.
Jesus!
After the disqualification, even though 2 guys carried him over the finish line, he was still declared the winner.
Isn't it more about the friends we made along the way? Like that nice animate soup spoon that helped me carry me across the finish line. What about him? Where's he at?
All right. So then, I don't know, some guy named Albert came in second, but no one remembers anything funny about him, so who cares?
I love though in the story of human depravity and the callous hell that our nation was 100 years ago. There's just a guy named Al that had a nice run that day too, as well.
Fuck you,
Well,
Al.
bad.
Fuck you. We're doing a theme. Jesus.
So the next man was Felix Carvajal. Felix was a postman from Cuba who financed his trip to America by running around the island asking for donations. And after crowdsourcing his Olympic bid, Felix arrived in America in New Orleans, and they promptly gambled all of his money on dice and lost. It's just all gone. Penniless, he walked and hitchhiked from New Orleans to St. Louis, and he arrived in St. Louis to the fairgrounds the very afternoon of the race itself. So a word here on Felix's race wear. Imagine a 5 foot tall, skinny Cuban man.
Always. Go ahead.
Yep, good. And just keep that image. All right, now imagine that man wearing men's dress slacks, dress shoes, a white dress shirt, and a jaunty cap.
Ibid, done. Go ahead.
Good. All right. So this outfit was all Felix had to wear for the race, just like the regular early 1900 men's uniform of wool pants and a dress shirt that you've seen 1,000 times. So Felix just borrowed some guy's knife, turned his pants into cutoffs, and he ran that whole fucking race, white shirt flapping in the breeze, dress shoes pounding the pavement.
Christ.
Passes Michael Douglas carrying a machine gun. Weirdo.
Totally fucking unfazed by anything, I guess. Felix stopped and chatted with every crowd of well-wishers along the way. A lot of times he was begging them for food and water as he went. As he ran, Felix grew hungry since he had not eaten at that point when he started the race in 40 hours. passing an orchard, he stopped and ate some apples he found lying on the ground nearby, but the apples were rotten. And so Felix became ill and he laid down to take a nap for an hour.
What?
He just napped. He just like, I'm in the Olympics, but I'm going to sleep through some of this. He woke up from the nap. He cheerfully resumed the race. And despite getting the shits, taking a nap, fasting for 40 hours before the race, and wearing dress shoes, he came in fourth. Or maybe third. It's kind of hard to say, right?
Or even second if you don't count the guy who got carried.
Okay, but was there a completely different attitude about shitting in 1904? Just like everybody's Eli somehow in this story, and nobody says anything this whole time. People are just shitting all over the place, as far as I can tell.
MAGA.
A few other runners of note. William Garcia was a runner from California. He only made it a few miles into the race when he collapsed. He was discovered by other runners lying unconscious in the middle of the road. Dust from the road had coated his esophagus and ripped his stomach lining.
Oh, Jesus.
And he lay on the course bleeding internally until he was found. He nearly died, actually.
Jeez, man. This course is plotted out by Himalayan Sherpas. No, you go right at the guy face down bleeding on the pavement, and then you go left at the three guys that died shitting in the bushes. You can't miss it.
Can't miss him. The smell, you'll know it from the smell.
The first two Black African athletes to compete in the Olympics were also in this race. So two men from South Africa, Len Tau and Jan Mashiani, which does not sound African, competed, though neither of them ran this race wearing shoes, so they both ran barefoot.
Well, important time to remind everybody that like 3 of the 4 runners that we've discussed so far had large portions of the race devoted to street pooping. Holy fuck.
So these two guys weren't, in fact, even supposed to be in the Olympics. They weren't supposed to compete here. They were brought over to be part of one of the fair's living exhibits. The men decided they wanted to run the race, and so they just snuck over and raced in the Olympics.
Nice.
One of these guys came in 9th place. The other guy came in 12th place. Though, to be fair, the guy who came in 12th was chased a mile off the course by a pack of wild dogs.
You can't make this up.
Okay, but in defense of those dogs, they were like, so, we hear you're part of one of the exhibits here. Let's see how you like being eaten.
I just feel like, knowing that if they catch you, they'll put you back in the zoo is a real good motivation to keep running fast, right?
Yeah.
So the only French runner in the race was disqualified after he ran the marathon because he forgot to bring with him any of the paperwork proving who he was. So he got DQ'd.
Nice.
The 2 runners from Greece that showed up to the Olympics had never run in any race at all, much less a marathon, but they came all the way from Greece to give it a whirl. They didn't finish. In fact, 17 of the 42 athletes who started didn't finish the race.
Okay, I'd say those are the 17 winners. Like, they didn't get mauled by a pack of wild dogs or poisoned or projectile shat on. Those are wins that day. Those people won.
And then the Russian team, they arrived a full week after the race because they were still using the Julian calendar and they just got the dates all wrong.
That's amazing. The Russian judges still gave him first place, too. It's crazy.
Oh,
Crazy. 10 out of 10.
And then I love this part because it's just mean. The next year, Lors, that guy who rode shotgun for half the marathon and who still attempted to accept the gold medal in the wreath, well, he competed in the Boston the next year against Hicks. Hicks was the guy who ran the marathon hallucinating and hopped up on brandy and rat poison. And Lors, the fucking cheater, won. Though he did it probably just to see the look on Hicks's stupid face when he won.
Jesus. Yeah, to summarize it, you learn in one sentence, Sam, what would it be?
I guess no matter how bad things get, they can't get as bad as they already were.
Amen.
That's fair. Are you ready for the quiz?
Well, I haven't been drinking this brandy and Rid-X cocktail for nothing, Cecil.
Great. All right. First question for you. What's the best name for the movie version of the poison-themed marathon? A, Arsenic and Old Race. It's A.
I'm going A then as the, yeah.
Correct.
Nailed it.
Also would have accepted Run, Fat Boy, Run.
All right, Tom.
Waffle cones and cheeseburgers aside, what was the second most popular food in the 1904
It would be
fair?
third, but we're not counting. We
A.
already have waffles and cheeseburgers.
Beagle with cream
Great.
cheese,
Scream cheese would be
B.
better there.
snickerpoodles,
Those are good. Those are really good.
C. Pumpkin spice lattes.
Oh.
You always got to force pug in there, even when it doesn't.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
always. Or D. Chow mein.
I'm
That
gonna
one's a good one. That's a
I'm
good
gonna
one.
have
I
to
like that
go
one.
with beagle with cream cheese just because it has accoutrement with it. So like it just seems.
That
Yeah,
is correct.
Okay, Tom, if Heath were running a marathon,
Driving a marathon? Watching one on
what
TV.
disgusting shit would he rinse his mouth
Hitchhiking
out
a
with at
marathon?
mile 6? A,
Stupid premise.
fucking Red Bull and Jaeger, also known as Trailer Park Rocket Fuel. B,
Racist.
plum flavored soda. C, a whiskey that smells like an 85-year-old smoker's fingers. Or D, he'd probably be cool with that strychnine shit.
Having been out with Heath, I'm going to say it's definitely D. He'd probably be cool with the strychnine shit.
I agree. Hard
The
to
other
do.
ones too, but yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I was sure it was the old smoker's fingers. I was sure it was C. All right, I got one more for you, Tom. With the exception of the part where large numbers of people intentionally go there, how is anything you said different than present-day St. Louis? A, the racism is less subtle now. B, different holes in the road.
That's true.
C, the people along the way offering you poison are charging you for it now. Or D, in your story, technically there were winners.
Oh, that is, I'm having been to St. Louis a number of times. It's definitely, the racism is not less subtle now. That's a fucking distraction. So, the holes in the road are probably the same. So I'm going to go with C. The people along the way are charging for the poison just because based on experience, I feel like you would know that.
That is correct, sir. That is correct. A little over fucking priced, if you ask
Tom.
me. It's legal one state over.
The panel didn't stump you. You're the winner this week.
All right. Well, Noah, you're up, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Well, you did that on purpose.
That's said to do it right here in the notes. So, that's why.
For
I just-
Tom, Heath, Eli, and Noah, I'm Cecil. Thanking you for hanging out with us today. We'll be back next week, and by then, Noah will be an expert on something else. Between now and then, you can listen to Tom and Eli's new show, Sports Are Stupid Waste of Time. Let's binge 45 straight hours on Netflix. And you can watch Noah and Heath's new video channel, Drawing Dick Butt with a Yellow Replay Pen. If you'd like to donate money to this show, but not enough for that road trip, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/citationpod or leave us a 5-star review anywhere you can. If you'd like to get in touch with us, check out past episodes, connect with us on social media, or check the show notes, be sure to check out citationpod.com.
Did you have fun at the fair, little Timmy?
I sure did. I saw an octoroon.
Wow, be careful. That's contagious.
I know. Where's Mom?
She died of the rickets.
Yay, new mom.
Seriously, Pete Buttigieg.
I'm telling you, Buttigieg is going to take Super Tuesday. He'd own it. That's his all day.
Tom, you don't even like gay people. Okay, I'll read the line right.